During the first year we had, so it's a blended programme of support. So during the first year we had on the right hand side what we call our peer working groups, and we had the support of a regional advisor. Yeah, so that's our sort of face-to-face interaction. On the right hand side is more of our blended approach. So we've got ECPD module around action research, a multimodal e-guide. So a lot of our practitioners, rather than write traditional reports, they created websites, prezzies, all sorts to disseminate their findings. So that was very much what PLAR 1 was about. And what we found is we had so much materials and resources, we thought, how great would it be if we could train up people in-house so they could support practitioner-led action research within their own organisations, so practitioners could work on what was important to them. Yeah? So as part of PLAR 2, which started September last year, we invited 3 organisations to pilot what we called whole organisation approach to PLAR approach. And so Philippa, in a moment, is just going to tell us about your experience in an FE college. Catherine, I'm going to talk to her about her experience in a work-based learning setting. And Steph is in one of the other workshops. So we had one pilot in an offender learning background. So we contextualised the materials. They're all available on the programme website, if anybody was interested in using that kind of approach in their organisation. But you're going to hear a little bit more now.
Joss, would you mind just doing the flicking for me so I can
Just give me a nod.
So just to start off with now, so I'm Philippa Firth, I work at Kirklees College, I'm Head of Teacher Education, I have to just think of all my new titles, Teacher Education, Teacher Development and just recently Access to HE. So I've got a broad remit across college, but my first job in the college really was about teaching and learning and practitioners and developing CPD and getting staff engaged in their own CPD. And where a lot of you have probably come from when you've done CPD is you're told what to do and when to do it. And this title actually, the taking ownership of CPD, developed as I was doing the project with Claire, because it wasn't where I first started about staff developing their own CPD, it was about research. So I'll come back to the title and where we are with it. So kind of, how did it happen? What were the purpose of it and what did I do to make it happen? This is we've always had top-down approach to CPD in college. We look at lesson observations, we gather data, but we ultimately decide what staff want. Anna now, the staff development manager, work really hard. We ask staff, so we send out surveys and ask them what they want. Well, what this opportunity posed to me really was getting staff involved in their own research, in their own CP into the classroom. They'd be fully engaged, they'd want to do it, and that would drip through the rest of the college. So that's where I came from. It's about staff taking the ownership of their own CPD and making this really meaningful. We already have a lot of projects going on in college, so I've been working with Sunset this academic year and we've had projects with Sunset. This is our 3rd year in college that staff have gone and done a project with Sunset, so we're already doing that. Some staff are already working with emCETT outside of this project, so they're doing work with emCETT and they did last year and the year before, so we've got a lot already going on, but this was about drawing it all together and sharing it across the whole organisation. So this, and I love this, when Claire came and telephoned me, would you be interested in this WAR-to-PLAR? It's actually another acronym to get my head round and to think of, but it's a whole organisational approach to practitioner-led action research. The staff actually quite like that, and they've kind of stuck with the title and thinking about what impact that would have on the whole organisation. My ultimate job in college is to make teaching and learning the best it can be for the students. I'm always thinking about the students, so when I'm doing lesson observation, it's always about impact on students. And I know teachers are very important, CPD is important, but the outcome of that is students and how well they do on their courses. This is Kirklees College as a whole organisation, and thinking about it changing practice and engaging students more in their own experience. So this practitioner-led research, it really involves students in the classroom. They're involved in the research, so all the research takes part, the students are the heart of it, and they've been involved in their own action research. And we talked about that quite a lot in our session this morning, about engaging students in our own research and our own learning and development. So who did what? So within the team, so Claire and I worked together to start with and decide as a whole organisation what we'd do and how we'd approach it. I've got a team of 11 advanced teaching and learning coaches, so ATLCs in college, and what I wanted them to do was work with the staff who came forward. So each member of staff that came forward wanting to do research, I'd have a support person they could go to, so it'd be me or one of the ATLCs they could work with. So first of all, Claire and I got together and we worked quite hard on what it would look like, and we came up with a plan And now we're always keep it simple, because if we send a lot out to staff and say you need to do this full write-up and we need you to fill in an application form that's 3 pages long, nobody'd come forward. So we came up, and I'm quite happy, I've brought some copies, but we did a very, very simple advert that we put out in the communication workbox. It's just 1 page, and on the back it's just name and what research they wanted to do. I didn't give any lead. I didn't say we want you to look at this as a college, this is what we need. I just let staff decide what they wanted to do for themselves. Claire came and did some quite in-depth training with the advanced practitioners to start with, and we've made a video of that and we put it on our college website so staff could go and look at it and refer to it again. And she also came and did some training with the researchers that started to take part, and then our ATLCs then supported them. So this idea of somebody coming and helping us with action research, and no disrespect to emCETT, but we're still going to run it next year. So whether we get support or not, staff are already asking me what we're going to do next year and can I take part in it. We share everything at college on our intranet on KC Share. It's open for the whole college. Everybody can look at it and see it. Only people doing research can edit, but anybody can go in and pick off what they want. And I monitor that and make sure that people are putting things on the advanced practitioner, doing their part and what they should be doing. Okay. So the big question, and before we get to the end, and people say to me, how much remission did you give? And how much money did you give people to do it? And what kind of support did you give to ATLCs? And did they get extra remission? The answer to that is none. So these staff were just coming forward because they wanted to do research in the classroom. The advanced practitioners get 5 hours a week to support staff. So they did it in and amongst that. They didn't give them any extra time to do that. They did it in amongst everything else. Okay. So we marketed just through KC Share. I think it started off with 16 applications came forward. So we were really pleased with that kind of to start, because we wanted to start small and then we can make that much bigger and we can work with staff to improve that. We've got, you can go on to the next one, please. So we've got 16 applications and 16 very different projects working across college. When I get to the end, I'll go through them and show you what they are and what we're doing with them. Some of them have finished it, and I'll show you a website of one of the ones that's finished it. At least 3 of the projects that we're doing will change practice in our organisation. So 3 quite small projects are going to change the whole face of what we do. One of the members of staff have done one on, and the student's been the expert learner. We often talk about expert teachers, but we don't often think about an expert learner, what they need to do to be expert. And they've been very involved students. They've been control groups and students working in the classroom, in business, about what they think the expert learner should be. The staff who took part in it they're absolutely terrified. They've got to come to SLT and present their research. And also at our conference is going to be very research focused this academic year in October. So they've got till September to finish, and then they'll come and present it to the whole college. So they'll be presenting their little research projects to 350 staff in college. So it's going to be absolutely huge for them, and I think a few of them will be absolutely quaking. But we've got something that's fantastic here that we need to capture, and we need to share it. And I think it's one of these things that's going to just start rolling. It'll gather more and more and more staff will be interested in it. Before I go to questions, can we just flip to the this other word at the bottom? I'll just go through the projects and the different areas, because you can see it, and you probably can't see because it's not very good for looking in here, but there are a range of curriculum areas across college, which I think has been really good in terms of sharing them across the organisation. We've got a member in foundation learning that's a member of staff that's working on making ALS the best it can be in your classroom. They're working with very difficult students, and I think he felt that the ALS was just babysitting students, and he's given the support in his classroom a real focus on supporting students so he can work with the less able, which is normally the other way around, but he's letting him work the support in his classroom work with the more able learners so he can concentrate on the less able because he feels they need the teacher more. That's a really good project and really interesting. We've got somebody working on peer work in the classroom in childcare, because she came to the conclusion that quite often higher level students stick with higher level students, and the ability in the classroom is, you've got your higher level and your lower level working together, and she wants to really mix that up and do a project and study it on how that works. We've got a few on ICT. We've got somebody working on augmented reality, which is going to be a big thing in our college, I think, in the coming year, because marketing and wanting to know more about it. Students are wanting to do more with it. Students absolutely love it. Problem is, it doesn't always work. So what else are you planning for when your augmented reality doesn't take off and work as it should? We have a couple of iPads in the classroom, and staff we're all told to use more technology. You need to use more technology in your classroom. But I'm of the belief that if you've got technology and you've got a set of flip chart, and the flip chart's going to work better if your students use the one that's best. IT is just another tool. So these people are looking at, actually if it doesn't work, somebody came to the conclusion that if I just take some post-it notes and then that's better, should I use that instead? And I say yes, use whatever it is, it's just another tool to use. So a couple on using iPads there. A lady in ESOL, she's looking at does higher level numeracy equate to higher level grammar? So she's looking at if her students are really good numerical, can that link to doing better things with grammar? And at first, I think it just, and the ATLC that's working with her just said, I don't think it's going anywhere, this, but actually the result looks absolutely fantastic because she's made that correlation and she can see how that's going to work. So I think that's going to impact on the ESOL department. A member of staff's working with GCSE students. We know now that every student who comes to college is going to have to do GCSE if they've already come with a D or below. And she's got a bunch of students in her classroom who just don't want to be there. They didn't engage 11 years at school. How are we going to get them to engage in the classroom? They're disaffected, they misbehave. So she's trying to come up with some techniques that really engage students in the classroom. I've observed this lady and I can see what a difficult job she's got. There's something on cooperative learning. There's quite a lot on peer work and cooperative learning in the classroom because when Ofsted come, that's one way they're going to go. They want to look at more peer learning and more support in the classroom. And then the one that's going to have a real impact, I think, in our college is how to be an outstanding learner that I've discussed earlier. Okay. And one of the, do you want to get the just put the
website, yeah. On Explorer, yeah. This one here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kathy's.
Yeah. So it's not Kathy. So we've got a member of staff who's working with emCETT on a different project and she supported this member of staff so she's helped her to write a blog. This member of staff has got no IT skills or came with very little IT skills. So not only is she using iPads, she's also been supported in writing a blog and doing a web page, which is fantastic learning. And so she used iPads in the classroom and she's one that came up to me and said, please, if you do it again, let me have another go next year because I've done this part now and I'm wanting to move that further forward. So for me, it's been a real learning curve. I didn't think as many people had come forward. We'll have 12 that get to the end incomplete this year. And I think the impact on the college is going to be quite big in terms of changing practice. Has anybody got any questions?
How many of the staff are actually working towards the ECPD module?
None.
None. Okay.
And also when I put the advert out, I asked if any of the people let me know if they're doing the teacher education because we are going to use it as one of the modules on teacher education, but actually none of these are on teacher education, so they're all qualified staff.
I don't know what to say to start off other than wow, because it seems to me that you've got all the impact of the individual projects, and every one of them is, to use the cliche, like the pebble in the pond and the ripples, and the impact on the learners and their attitude to learning. You know, at the end of the day, it's almost impossible to quantify and qualify where that ripple effect will go to. But also, what really strikes me is that, and it's almost reading between your lines, the impact on staff, because it seems to me that there is an enthusiasm amongst the staff that this is intrinsically motivating. It's the organisation saying, we value you, and we value you enough to actually make some change and do it in this way. I mean, it's a lot of empowerment. And, I don't know whether you found that, it is possible to actually almost, quantify improvements in staff motivation, given that, the sector generally, motivation has been very low for a decade or more. Would you say that's fair?
I would, and I think for me, the biggest part, and I sometimes really struggle to let go, is the letting go. It's a struggle for me to say, well, actually, I think you should be doing this.
Yeah.
Not lead, and just to let people go where they want to go. And I can already see the ripple because I can
Yeah.
see people coming to me saying, I want to take part in it.
Yeah.
And so from such a small project, I just think it'll grow and grow.
And can I add one other thing that you know, do you think that there is an impact in terms of how your college, your senior leadership team, see how to develop staff, you know, how to do CPD in a more meaningful way?
I think it's a ripple.
Yeah.
I think I've had a big thing with college this year on going to an ungraded system.
Right.
So I've got that to SLT and approved. So to me, this is just a small ripple. The assistant principal, we review our advanced practitioners on a yearly basis, and they come and they talk about what they've done, and they were absolutely blown away by not only their own research, because they all have to do research, but how they've supported and what's gone on in the college in terms of the projects. So my job now really is to promote that. So what's come out of it and what learning is taking place.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you.
Let me off easy. Okay, thank you.